I going to take a vaccine where the people who are pushing it out are really kind of talking to you in an onion-like manner about the concerns that people have when these are the stats? Probably not. Now, why do people have these concerns? Why are people, why is anybody concerned about a vaccine? Well, I remember going over this in an old video of mine. I love government monopolies, where I was a little bit salty about the FDA, how the FDA was dealing with two companies that I knew of. I was talking about one company where they kept postponing a vaccine when they didn't seem to look at any of the data, and another company where they actually admitted in their own writing, we have not gotten to this yet. I know you did everything that we asked. I know you presented us with all this evidence. We haven't read it yet, so we're not going to approve your drug yet, even though they paid millions and millions of dollars for an expedited review. Now, in that video, many people there were a lot of comments kind of like tearing into me about how dare I, and they need to make sure things are safe. Now, if it is a part of our culture that we want to make sure that vaccines are safe prior to them being given out, where we are culturally used to it taking 3 or 5 or 10 or 12 years for a vaccine to be approved from the time that they start development of it, wouldn't you expect people to have the slightest bit of doubt when they get something done in 8 to 9 months? My questions would be, A, what safety procedures did you bypass in order to get this out in 7 to 9 months rather than 10 years? B, if those safety procedures were bypassed, why should I feel safe taking it? C, if those safety procedures are not necessary, then why do they exist in the first place? You see, because it's really difficult to have it both ways, to say for all of these potentially life-saving treatments, no, you don't understand, they have to go through 10 years of bureaucracy because it's so important to keep you safe. But then when we come out with a vaccine that's going to be distributed to over 300 million people, no, we can't go through all that. It's so important that we need to get it out right now that we need to ignore all the safety. Because I would argue that with many of the drugs and vaccines that go through the FDA that are only going to go to a small portion of the population, that's different than something that's going to go to the entire population. If anything, a vaccine that's going to be given to everybody in America should be going through more safeties into protocols, should be going through more checks and balances, because it's going to affect a larger number of people. So when we have a vaccine being distributed that's going to affect a much larger number of people, that's when we should have less anxiety, not more. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And again, when I look at the way that they talk about it, when I look at the way they talk out the side of their mouth and belittle people that have any questions about stuff like facial paralysis, and when they say stuff like you probably won't even notice it, again, if you had leveled with me, I would believe it. But when you talk like that, and then I look at the numbers, and I look at the likelihood, again, 8 point something million people in New York City, within my demographic, 5 dead. You're gonna have to do a better job of your salesmanship. And I really hope they do, because I actually believe that the vaccine itself, if developed well, will be good for society. But this is not how you sell people on it. This is not how you sell people.